Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toonkind D&D. I am Mock. I will be your DM for the day. Today we're going to be playing a game that I designed that takes place in an academic exposition at the Lapin University of Various Sciences. It's basically like a science fair, except it's the height of Toon scientific advancement. Today with me, I have, starting from the top, and say who you are and who you're playing.
I am 18 Nicho, and I am playing Denzel Eisen. Sort of my take on the right-hand man of old Lucy himself. And he's currently there to check on a business deal, so to speak.
Somebody's come to this fair with actual business to do.
Wow.
Impressive.
Impressive.
Like, oh my goodness. Much more put together than the rest of the party, I think.
Oh, yes. So I think I'm next.
Mhm.
So hi, I'm Sharoo, and I am going to be playing Fuegory, Wuna. It's his second ever game, and basically he's a very polite walking fire hazard, but now he has a hat.
Oh!
Just, do you know that scene with Casper from House Moving Castle?
Yes, very good movie.
So just like he has a pan on his head, but it's not cursing bacon.
Oh, bless. I love Fuegory a lot. I love him a lot. He's a very good boy.
I
Oh,
think
is it me
that's
next?
you, Jay.
Yep. It is me. Hello, I am Jay, and I will be playing Dr. Worm, who is definitely a real doctor, and also very much definitely a real worm. Several worms, in fact, if leeches are worms. They are a Toon plague doctor, and they make sort of squishy noise walk, and they are, once again, I would like to reiterate, definitely a real doctor.
Absolutely. The most real doctor.
Henry will not question it due to politeness.
Okay.
Unless he has to actually heal someone, and it's just like, you can't kill anyone. Why are you a medic?
I will have you know, Dr. Worm apparently has +5 to medicine checks, which I don't know where that came from. So.
Well, whether he has +7, so.
Well,
okay, yeah. So let's leave it. Let's yeah.
My turn. Last one in Kanpukugu, when you make me to say so. Playing Nezuma, a mouse from enemy land. He's wimpy, he's scared of having his on Sharoo apparently, and has well inner monologues. He's just there for the interesting science stuff he can find, and for the food too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Can I just say that they haven't even met, but he's already child of the group.
Yep. Small boy must protect.
Baby boy, baby. All right, great. So that's everybody. All right, so you have decided to attend. Oh, I should have asked why your characters actually decided to attend this academic exposition. You want to just go really quick and say what the reasoning is?
For the science! Dr. Worm is here for the science!
Absolutely.
That's science in all caps with an exclamation mark.
Fuegory wandered there during his travels, and seeing how fast he actually got some money on him, which is very rare, he decided to just visit and check out any like plant-friendly technology and maybe something that is fire-resistant, because as much as he loves his suit, he needs a change.
Mr. Eisen, he's checking in on a business deal for his boss.
All right.
Nezuma is like his inner voice, the man like told him to like, hey kid, you are not going to school right now, but it's time to learn. And he's like, okay, there's
Oh, bless.
so yeah, studying and free food. What's better?
Hey,
Education
there
and
is free food.
Education and free food.
I was like, I gotta throw in some free food because that will get any other character who might want to be here to be here. So that was my that's generally my experience with free food. We'll get anyone to go anywhere.
Correct.
Um,
Yes.
all right, so you guys are in basically a big showroom, kind of like a auditorium space slash showroom. There are tables that are set up with various different scientific demonstrations.
Ooh,
Whoa,
what is that?
that was a sound. That was actually one of the scientific demonstrations that was happening. They're working with sound. They're working with sound. That was a sound blast. It was pretty cool, actually. They just absolutely decimated a watermelon that they had set up on a stand on the other side of the room. So that's pretty neat. I don't know what that was.
Oh, beautiful.
Um,
Beautiful.
but yeah, they're doing that over there. This room is quite large. Like, I'm not that great with dimensions, honestly, but it's a big showroom.
Big.
If you've ever been to like a convention anywhere, probably in that realm of like large kind of convention center-esque, some of these
Yeah.
demonstrations do need like some room to them, like the sound blaster. You got to have um like space enough for anything dangerous to dissipate. No one's doing anything super crazy dangerous, but
Mm.
the anything could happen,
No,
right?
no testing.
Like a fire going inside.
Yeah, you could have a fire inside. Um, there are some like locations that are working with, I would call it like elemental magics. So that would kind of include the fire, but also kind of like water. Um, what are other elements? I have no idea. Air is another one. That's there. um,
Mhm.
so there's an
Yeah,
area
I
like
should
that.
hope so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Some of us need to breathe or combust, as the case may be.
Only some of us do.
Yeah.
What else did I put in here? Hang on. There's a lot of these going on here. There's of course the classic. There's a few people who have kind of different potions set up. They've got almost like little samplers of potions, as well as there's another kind of stand set up that has basically like spell scrolls. Again, almost like they're just kind of handing them out. They're like testers.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, free stuff.
Free stuff.
So
I'll definitely help myself.
so essentially, yeah. What are you going there to do? And then anything that you guys want to do basically right now.
I'm going to go check on my business partner, so to speak. See how he's coming along.
Okay, do you know who you're looking for? Or like do you know like where the location of this person is, or are you just kind of walking around till you get a feeling?
I would say he's been informed of the name, and this is totally not because we forgot to come up with a character.
I was unsure how familiar you wanted to be with them. I assumed that maybe the name is the only thing you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Which in this case, it's going to be Mark, M-A-R-C. What's a good last name? Mark Lucas, two first names because that's where I'm at.
Hooray!
So he's gonna
I would
basically go
just
to the
go
front.
to the office and just doing that lost child announcement.
No.
Goodbye, you little shit.
While he is mean, he's not gonna do that. No, he's just gonna go up to the front desk and like, "Hello, I'm here to see my younger brother, Mark Lucas. I was wondering if you could give me directions to where his stand would be.
All right, there's a kind of a administrative person at the desk that says, yeah, sure, just give me a sec. And they basically stand up and kind of scan the room. Maybe I'll do a. I'll do a perception roll for them.
You know, because he wants. You know, can he make his own one?
Yeah, why don't you do one? Because I'll tell you what, they did not do great on theirs. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of activity happening in this room. Yeah, they did. That was a 5.
I'm going to give myself guidance, which is a D4 on ability checks.
All right, great.
Oh no, somebody who actually knows how to play.
Well.
Oh.
I rolled even
was a 4?
less.
Well. Sorry, I don't see him right now.
Oh, the dice bots are angry today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's going to give a tie. He's going to give a strain. Smile and walk off.
Oh, bless.
Great.
It is best.
All right. You did that one. Who's next? There's definitely, yeah, there's also definitely some, I think you mentioned like plants, gardening things. There's definitely kind of a plant area as well. They're showing off some various, like, yeah, magical plant types.
Goes there, like, straight there. He just admires the plants, like, checking out what there is.
Oh yeah, no, it's really good. Where'd those go?
He isn't really there for any special reason. He just likes to see stuff, and now there's plants around.
Yeah, and there are plants around.
Gravitate towards the plants.
Hey, that's a great idea. There are a few different plants, kind of. Was someone saying something?
Oh yeah, no, that was me. Sorry, you also started doing. No, I just go on.
Can I just say that Fuegory, as he goes through the plants, he just uses Druidcraft to help some of them bloom because he loves that stuff.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Nice.
I'm just gonna say that after a while looking at all that scientific stuff, Nezuma is doing extensive research in the snacks area.
Good child.
What are his findings? What are his findings in the snacks?
That food from outside of enemy lands is actually good.
Yeah, they have.
I love our mouse friend.
They have kind of your standard fare. They've got like those like sandwiches that are cut into wedges, kind of thing. There definitely is a section that has like chocolate chip cookies because you gotta have those at anything.
Yeah, I figured how with a lot of food stacked in.
How many cookies can you fit in your mouth at once? It's science. You can write it down. It's numbers. You're measuring a variable.
Yeah, can you do me a favor and roll a D12?
Me?
Yeah. Roll a D12 for us.
Oh my god.
3. You can fit 3 cookies in your mouth. They're not small cookies.
Yeah.
And your mouth is pretty small, so that kind of tracks.
Yeah.
But you're really cramming them in there, and you just can't get any more in.
I even tried. The mullet is gonna stop. He's like, "Where are your noodles, kid?" I'm sorry.
gonna say before we had some crosstalk. Dr. Worm is also hanging out by the kind of like plants area. I'm guessing that it's like stuff to do with like getting plants to grow better or using magical plants for their properties and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they are having a very very involved conversation with a possibly reluctant like store manager who has been sort of cornered by this person who is now who is now talking very intently at them about like all the possible uses for all these kinds of plants and like all this kind of medicine and stuff. And they're all these facts, by the way, like what you can use these plants for and what they're really good for and how the effects they have on like the thinning of the blood. These are all completely wrong. Like this
Yeah.
knowledge is like completely. This person is any decent scientist is going to know that that's not how you use that type of herb. No.
Yeah.
Don't
And then
say
the whole
it.
point of kind of having like
No.
the whole point of having an exhibition is to like get people excited kind of about what you're doing. Essentially, like if you want to do like what's the like actual like strategic reason to have this, it's like kind of to get sponsors, but also to just gain interest in these various, fields of study or projects, research projects that people are doing. The person that you're talking to, um, absolutely is cornered. And the whole point of them doing it is to try to like be very friendly and excited. And so whether they approached you or you approached them, it doesn't matter now. They are trapped. Oh my God, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. Everything they're saying is wrong. And I as the character, I do know all the answers. I do know all the answers, but this person is just, they're not letting me get a word in edgewise. And
Nope.
I'm like looking around for help.
Sorry, continue.
Sure, were you saying something? Or,
No, sorry.
okay. No, all good. I just don't like to, I try to, take a moment.
The problem is like with all this kind of like with it like because of some of the microphones that we're using, it's sometimes difficult to tell like if somebody's opening their mouths to talk or whether they've just managed to catch like a little bit of background noise.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I
it's a
wanted
little
to
weird.
say something, but I don't want to crosstalk because I tend to do that a lot. So sorry, I'm just gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
I want to know what you wanted to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you wanted to say.
So just Fuegory, seeing as they're in the same aisle, and he just hears that, he's already planning an explanation because he has studied medicine, especially herbal medicine, and he's like, "Sir, this is not right. If that hurts someone."
Oh, bless. So he's actually going up and like starting any kind of conversation.
Just this flame and this worm arguing about herbs.
Yes,
In the
that is
corner.
exactly what I wanted to. That is exactly what I wanted to happen. Dr. Worm does not get angry or anything. If anything, they get even more enthusiastic, like having this kind of like they seem to be treating it as a debate as opposed to the fact that they're objectively wrong.
Fuegory is keeping his cool because he's a gentleman, but he does insist that, "Sir, this is wrong, and I do not want to offend you. I just want you to keep people safe."
Yeah, I mean, that'll do it.
Oh my goodness. It's a very good point. I'm afraid it doesn't necessarily work. It doesn't necessarily work. It's not very easy to try and tell this person that they're wrong, but good attempt. Good attempt.
Good attempt. All right. Okay. Oh God.
You okay? You okay?
No,
Lily?
I'm great. Sometimes you're great.
Yes.
You sure?
So it's essentially there's people that are kind of like shouting out things like, hey, who wants like, again, there's people that are kind of giving away like freebie scrolls of like little things that are kind of interesting. Um,
Yeah.
Eisen,
they're doing that. I don't
you
know.
get that?
We're doing things.
Yeah, Nesu will get out with a lot of stuff in his hands.
Eisen's just curious about what he can take.
All right, we got scrolls. We got scrolls. We've got some new experimental spells that we're bringing in here from the Department of Spell Discovery. We're designing, we're building new spells. Here's a few to try out. Excuse me, you sir, would you like a spell?
Yes, please. Of course, I'll take one.
All right, and they hand you basically a spell scroll. It's do you know what it is upon looking at it? I don't remember with scrolls.
I believe you do. I can always make an Arcana check if you want me to.
Make an Arcana check.
Just go. I'll give
Just for fun.
guidance again.
For fun.
Just because I took that cantrip for a reason.
All right. This is a scroll of Summon Bee.
A scroll of what?
A scroll of Summon Bee.
Okay.
Yes.
Singular bee.
This is
He's
scroll of
going to raise it. He's going to raise an eyebrow and go, please tell me you don't have a scroll of summon hornet.
no, we're not working. We haven't discovered how to get the hornets yet. Bees are a little more malleable with magic. Obviously, this is just kind of the demo version. We would need more time in the lab and time figuring out the
He's going to
logistics.
put the scroll in his coat pocket.
Okay, sorry, can I please I want Dr. Worm to have witnessed this or overheard the idea of, like, it's just gonna in the middle of their conversation with Fire Friend, and is just going to and just go say, hold that thought for a second, and then go over to the scroll person and say, how many of scrolls of Summon Bee do you have?
At this point, we've got, he like checks kind of a bag that he's holding. Like 7 of them.
I would like them, please. Please present me with 7 bees.
I mean, it's kind of like 1 per person.
I could pay.
I mean, sure. What's? I have no idea what the economy of Inkwell is.
I just need 7 bees. I've never needed 7 bees more in my lives.
What are you willing to pay for these 7 bees?
I absolutely.
Again, it's
no
7.
Idea. I just really badly
it's
want 7 bees, Mark.
It's.
I don't even know if I have any starting money. Do I have any starting money? I can't tell.
You should have like 10 to 15.
You probably have some, yeah.
Okay. 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 Dr. Worm is going to offer a gold piece per bee.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Sure, you can have them. It just hands you 7 scrolls of Summon Bee. Again, it is each of them is an individual scroll of Summon Bee.
Yeah. Yeah, I walk off with this, and Dr. Worm now returns to Fire Friend and says, "I have just made the most important purchase of my life."
So
You know how important bees are.
He's staring at you like you're crazy.
Dr. Worm gives him a little wave. Like, there might be a smile there. You can't tell. It's mostly mask.
Fuegory gives a polite nod of the hat, and also goes up to the vendor and asks, if I could take some of your time, sir, do you have any other scrolls? Because he's interested in something, seeing as it was nature-based, he could use that.
Well, I'm sorry, we're fresh out of Scroll of Summon Bee. Um,
Ah, yeah. The mouse suddenly appears from nowhere. He's a small, so you don't quickly notice it, and it doesn't make any noise. So he's right there, like, you don't have any scroll left. That it's okay.
I mean, I kind of have a few other ones here. How about you try this one? And he hands you a scroll of sandcast.
Do you have any fire ones?
A scroll? Excuse me, what? English not sure.
Hold on. I'll do a little copy paste.
What does it do?
Fuegory know that it's of Soundcast because his response depends on it.
The kid really.
I mean, I made Nico roll for it. Why don't you do a quick like Arcana check or just intelligence, whatever is kind of in that
roll
realm.
Arcana because proficiency.
Yeah, it's kind of the.
All right.
Yeah, you know, you see this and you're like, okay, so this has to do with kind of almost like Earth stuff. Where should I put this kind of thing?
Maybe player discussion.
Me right now.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say, Fuegory, just seeing as this is a scroll of Sandcast, he kind of thinks, okay, these people are afraid of me. To take the message. He politely takes it, puts it away, and he's very careful to control his flames because he kind of gets the message that people are afraid of him.
I as the DM wasn't trying to convey that, but also loving it. So
Nezuma thinks
yes.
actually.
I'm sorry, one more time?
He understands that. He's scary. That's how it works.
School actually.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get a really good look at this particular scroll. Are you trying to also get a scroll?
Who?
You.
Yes. I roll at Arcana, but the brain cell is not with me right now.
Well, you see it, but you don't have enough time to really look at it to know exactly what that is. You know it has something to do with kind of nature, elemental magics kind of thing.
Yeah. And I see the guy made of fire, and I say, "Oh, cool! He looks so cool. Is he some sort of hero or something?" But yeah, it's like not to speak.
Denzel has just silently put out a stick with a marshmallow and is just holding it above Fuegory's head.
Oh no!
No, that's so rude.
He did it! Oh my god! Oh no!
No! I'm sure I don't think. Is that okay?
Wait, who's doing that again? Because I didn't hear exactly who's holding the marshmallow.
That would be Denzel, aka the man who works for the devil.
Just Fuegory, you are aware that he's wearing a hat and that you're holding marshmallows over his very nice hat.
It feels like a threat.
He's holding it like behind his head, so it's exposed to the fire.
He's like I'm so sorry, sir. Just could you? And very, very carefully, he will just take his hands and put them very carefully away, but very quickly because he doesn't want to be in contact with this guy too long because fire is dangerous and his hands are fire. But he's just like taking the hat off and.
He's going to put away. He just puts away the marshmallow and the stick back into the coat.
I'm sorry, I had noise complaints. Back to the. He will just take off the hat and check if the flowers on it are right because.
Can I
Just got that hat.
now that this marshmallow scene is happening?
Yeah. I didn't forget about you. I just didn't want to talk over the action.
Yeah. That's why I ask. So I see that the walking fire is hitting food, and I get closer and I say, "Hey sir, hey sir." Can you hit these two, and I give them the sandwiches I picked in the in the snacks table.
He's giving him sandwiches.
I think he's asking you to toast him.
Yeah.
Fuegory wants to be a cook, but not like this.
But not like this. Anything but this.
This is so mean.
He's asking for it. but after seeing the negative reaction, he just flinches back, and you can see he kinda shrinks and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry."
No, my child. He just panics because he doesn't want to insult him, so he just kneels down, takes off his hat, and just exposes himself because it's better that he gets humiliated that he insulted the child.
No, this is not going well.
It's really not.
It's not.
Fuegory has become the campfire. Nobody respects him. Welcome to my life.
I'm just thinking of that one. Do you know that one image? And it's like a bunch of like lads, and there's one guy and his head is on fire, and they're all like around him, like toasting a marshmallow or something.
Yes.
Do you know the image I'm talking about?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just
I
imagining
do.
that. I'm glad someone knows it. I'll get it. I'll try and get it after this if no one in the Hazelnut Gallery has already done it. I haven't checked. Yes. So
Oh dear.
It's just. So, Ness, do you want to like anyone, because he took off his hat? Does anybody want to like look closer at his head, or is it not interesting?
I think it's interesting. Like the fact that this is a person that's on fire is extremely.
Denzel's examining him, but more in a case of, like he's cautious. He's cautious, but not for his safety.
Nezuma has seen like where stuff in his homelands. There was this. You see, there was this hero whose head was a piece of food, and he gave it to the hungry people. So yeah, I don't see any problem at all.
Aw.
Just if anybody looks closer, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm taking this over. I don't know if you want to make perception checks or should I just shut up?
We can have him make a perception check. I love the way I run games. I do like to have the players kind of be involved in making, you know, if there's something that you think requires a check, then yeah, go for it.
He's in that position and also he's on fire, but I think
I'll roll.
I'll say the pass is like 14. Focus.
Okay.
Oh yes, the game zone. I'm sorry, I was clicking around trying to find the freaking.
Perception. Okay. I have perception.
15.
I don't.
Ooh.
Oh, you can see everything.
Everything.
He can see into your soul.
Okay, so what is his deepest, darkest fear? What can you see written?
What's
in
your
the
entire
flavors of
life
this-
story?
This friend's head.
Actually, you already see his biggest fear is being around people and embarrassing other people. That doesn't require a perception check. But you notice that his head is. Denzel, you see that there's like this crack over his like next to his right eye,
Aw,
like
buddy.
this kind of deep crack. And Nezuma, you notice that his head is really shiny. Like it's not just fire, there's something in it and it's shiny. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nice.
Oh no! Please don't go and steal one of the party members' heads.
It's not a good
That would be
idea.
extremely bad.
That would be impossible.
Sandwiches?
Denzel's gonna think for a moment before speaking up. Goes. I assume that all that fire there actually does burn things. Am I correct?
Sorry,
Or is
again,
it more an illusion of sorts?
Sir, I will warn you. I am I am on fire. That's
Okay,
just-
then, okay.
Hey, I'm having a pretty good week myself. Okay, anyway.
Hey, but
Did he toasted the sandwiches, Toro?
But did you toast the sandwiches?
He did?
He took off his glove and just held it for a moment
Aw.
and it's toasted.
Oh, thank you, sir. Just okay. And you can see this the perpetual nervous looks on this kid looks changes from a smiley face. Really,
Aw,
because-
just-
you've made a friend.
Are you gonna eat it? Or are you just saving that? The sandwich.
It's a friendship bracelet now.
They are tuned. I don't think that is likely.
Friendship sandwich bracelet.
This-
So I was just thinking, it's like, oh yes, you've made a friend, and all it took was rendering your services as a sandwich toaster.
This is my panini press, and also my friend.
The power of food.
Okay,
As
so far we have bought a lot of bees, potential bees, toasted some sandwiches, and a marshmallow.
this is going about how I expected, actually. So this is pretty good.
And yes, we don't
Suppose.
Ooh, people are talking at
No,
the
you can
same
go
time.
first. Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, Nicho, go first.
Okay. I don't suppose you want to help me locate a certain person here, do you?
Oh, I would gladly do so, sir.
I'm
And
looking
he
for Mr. Mark Lucas. I got
Oh.
my boss has some business with him, which I need to check up on.
Say that in a shadier way than that, or
Should I just make perception or history? Maybe I heard of this guy, maybe not.
well, for you, I mean, for you, you don't even like know who this is. It's just like a random person to you, or yeah, in this case. I'll let you make a check. Maybe, what's a check to make for trying to recall a person? I guess history would be
Yeah,
kind of like that
history,
type.
like,
History or intelligence?
Or if you have, yeah.
for me, it's the same. So,
And
You have no idea who this person is.
really in a science fair, and there is not a single blind soul present right now, apparently. Man,
Franklin doesn't know who that is, but he will still offer his help because that's the gentlemanly thing to do.
Oh, it's so sweet.
So, do you know? Could you describe it at least so that I may aid you in your search?
well, I sadly don't know what the fella looks like myself. I only know his name. Boss,
You
boss
basically
fell
you
to-
figure you'll know him when you see him.
Yeah, and I've been told he stands out in the crowd, so to speak.
Hmm.
Could I make
I
a
understand.
perception check from where I'm standing?
You know what? Sure. Enough time has passed that things have kind of shifted. Again, it is chaotic in here.
Yes.
Like on one side of the room, someone has smashed a bottle on the floor, and now the floor is covered in ice, and they're ice skating. That's happening on the other side of the room.
21.
Oh, fantastic!
All right.
Drop it, something in the floor.
That's a very good point.
He is absolutely not in this room. He's absolutely
Oh.
not here. Like, you
Just a
don't know
point
where
thing.
he is. He should be here. That's what your instructions were. You know that he's here, like, if not even just on campus, like he's in the building somewhere, or at least he should be. But he's absolutely not in this large room right now.
Do I have to get the microphone?
Goodbye, you little shit.
You're gonna make an announcement over the PA system.
No, you don't. Because as you're looking around, and you're kind of, you're looking, you're focusing, you're like, why are those guys ice skating? Is that a tree? How did they get a whole tree in here? And you're kind of looking around, you feel the floor shake suddenly as a large explosion kind of rocks the building.
Oh.
And, a few things fall over, a few people are kind of gasp, and there's the kind of murmuring that happens. And then you see there's kind of a staging area. You see someone run up to kind of that podium. And basically, just getting my stuff. They are it's kind of a tall and lanky human toon with a shock of frizzy hair at the top and bright goggles that cover her eyes. And she's kind of hunched over in that classic, like, maniacal scheming pose.
Beautiful.
And she says, hello, everybody. I just wanted to make an announcement, and that is to thank you for coming to this exhibition. I'm just here to reassure you that nothing is wrong, everything's fine. That was totally a planned thing that just happened that we knew about ahead of time. And it's all good. By the way, are there any adventurers with us this evening? Because if so, we would really like to meet you in the back. We might have a job for you, unrelated to this, totally. The very planned and completely expected tremors that we had just now. So anyway, please do that. No rush, because again, it's unrelated, but please, as soon as possible, we come to the back. We don't need help, but we are looking for it.
Well, that's
Okay, thanks.
totally reasonable and completely unsuspicious.
Uh-huh.
He's going to let out a tired sigh and walk towards the back room.
You can just see Fuegory's flames just like going up, like just he's just in a pose like he was kind of trying to shield the kid because he didn't know what was happening.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right inside to know that she's kind of lying, or she got us for some reason.
Oh yeah, go ahead and make an insight.
I have no insight.
Eisen's going to pat you on the back as he walks past and give you guidance.
Ooh, very nice.
That's a plus a D4 to the roll.
Yes.
I have no.
And then roll a D4.
Everything's okay, apparently.
Fuegory is distracted.
This all
Yeah.
seems fine. I'm not even. Dr. Worm is not even gonna roll. Once again, entirely.
I was gonna. Can do you
normal
want
and
to?
completely unsuspicious?
Yeah, absolutely. Can do you want to roll a D4 to see if it adds anything to that? Because Nicho just gave you a bless. Or should I call you all by your characters' names at this point? Nezuma?
Whatever you want.
Interchangeable.
Whichever's easier.
If we do you want? Okay, no. Okay, great.
Are you okay there? Hello.
Hello.
Kanpukugu, are you there?
Can you hear us?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know you were talking to me.
No,
Oh, it's okay. We were asking because Nicho just cast guidance on you. So if you want to add, if you want to roll a d4 and add it to your result, it might like make it a little bit better.
It would increase that number.
9
to 9.
Nope.
9.
This seems pretty on the level.
Between those two.
This seems pretty
It's
legit
fine.
to you. But they are asking for help. Everything is fine for sure, but they are asking for help.
But they were asking for help.
So yeah, are you guys gonna kind of head back that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the kid is. I think he's a little under control. But then the mallet, this kid go there Probably there is trouble. Okay, and the mouth goes.
I just
Fuegory
realized I
is
forgot to just. Oh, you go first.
sorry. Fuegory he is a little suspicious. He doesn't really know if she's telling the
Yeah.
truth or not, but
That's
she
fair.
doesn't help, and he's a gentleman. He gotta at least try helping.
All right.
I just realized I forgot to describe what Eisen looked like.
Oh, I
I
mean,
know he's got a hoof for a hand.
sure.
Or
Doesn't
did
have a
we
hoof
decide
for a
against
hand.
that? Or did we decide against that?
I decided against that.
Oh, okay.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so. Do you mind if I give
I
you
mean,
a
yeah,
quick
sure. Go for it. Maybe try and
Okay.
describe it as you walk across the room toward kind of the back room, like backstage area.
Okay, so as he's walking towards it, he's just going to, slick his slick his hair back, roll up the sleeves on his white button-up shirt, straighten his vest, and one thing you note as he rolls up his sleeve, while he is in color, his right arm is black and white.
Neat.
Like the clothes, like the shirt over it appears normal, but just like from all the color from his arm has just been drained away. And he's then going to remove his gloves, and again, the right one has kind of talons instead of fingers.
Oh,
Very
rad.
nice.
Fuegory is kind of concerned, but he will not force because he knows some toons just are a little different from experience. So I will not interrupt anything.
All right. So as you guys kind of enter this back room area, you can see the person who was just talking. They're kind of a little bit fidgety at this point, and they are discussing, stooped down very low with a short, kind of squat-looking another human toon that has kind of like sagging eyes and a terminally dismal expression on their face. And you can kind of hear them discussing something under their breaths, kind of a, how do I know? We were supposed to get the, and then, whatever. You also see there's another person there um, who is basically concentrating on something. You're not exactly sure what at this point. They are a, I'm good at words. Hey guys, what's a fun animal?
What?
What's a
Penguin.
fun animal? All right,
Penguins are extremely fun.
they are a penguin toon,
Ooh!
and they are focusing very hard on something kind of on the other side of the room. You're not exactly sure what at this point. And that's kind of what you walk in on.
Cool. Dr. Worm is gonna slide on over to the penguin friend and ask what they're doing. It's just kind of pop their little beak over the penguin's shoulder and just be like, "Hello, what are you doing?"
I'm concentrating, so
Oh.
I would appreciate it if you took a step back.
Dr. Worm does
No.
not move.
That is a challenge, and Eisen is going to walk up and sit lean on the penguin now.
Oh no! I'm sorry, Mark. You've introduced this character, and we immediately start.
No,
to
I
bully
mean
them.
that's that's how it goes.
He is chaotic neutral.
Oh my god.
And then he just walks up to them and is like, "Gentlemen, please leave this man alone. He's working on something because he sees this guy is not comfortable with these guys."
Yeah, okay. Dr. Worm's gonna slide away then.
He's
yeah.
gonna roll his
They'll get
eyes
answers later. They'll get answers later.
and then just
I mean, they will.
slowly stop leaning on him.
All right.
So just behind. Picking
I am sorry.
And Nesu just stays behind, thinking like, what's happening?
Okay.
I am terribly sorry for my companions. They got a little too quick, but please forgive them. And he just, you know that tone. He has that tone that's kind of apologetic because he didn't mean that to happen.
He's the only person
The
who knows
only
how
good
to
one.
be a real human being.
And he's
At
just a
least humor is
fireball.
the most
That's excellent. All right. So as you're saying that, and the two people that were talking, they notice that you're there. The tall one looks at you and says, "Hello. You wouldn't happen to be adventurers, would you? Are you? That would be really cool."
Eisen just waves like the black and white hand.
Should I take that as a yes? I'll take that one as a yes. Okay. Here's the deal. Everything's not cool. Everything's not cool at all.
So
And we kind of need your help.
Elsa breeze!
Because we need to stay up here and to make sure that everything goes okay, because this exposition is really, really important for kind of the future continuation of this school and the things that we hold dear, all of the science that we do.
All the bees you need to summon.
Sure, the bees, that's great.
I found one joke and I'm not letting it go.
No, I mean, that's great. So all of us need to stay up here and make sure that. Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. And they like straighten up. They're very, very, very tall, very lanky. And they they hold out their hand. It's gloved in the requisite almost like those the big rubber gloves, the thick ones. And they say, "I'm Dr. Trait." And then the other one just kind of leans out from not quite behind her, but kind of over the other human tune, and just says, "I'm Professor Doppler."
You won't happen to know a Mr. Mark Lucas now, would you?
Well, actually, that's one of the people that's unaccounted for right now.
Guess I'm involved now. So what's the problem?
Well,
I'm gonna just and does this little polite bow because that's how he greets people. We don't know, and he just it's a pleasure to meet you both. And he just asks what. So what exactly is the problem? How may we help exactly?
yeah, the two of them kind of exchange just one of those like not conspiratorial glances, but like just oh, we're doing this, okay, kind of looks. And
How are we going to explain this disaster to these people so that they will help us and not run away?
yeah, pretty much. So Dr. Trite kind of says, okay, no, wait, okay, so you remember that the tremors, maybe, that you might have felt them before a little bit. Well, that was actually, remember when I said that was something that we planned and were aware of before it happened?
Yes, and we absolutely all 100% believed you.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't. That wasn't a thing that we knew was going to happen, essentially. And we need to get, we can't go down there because of the way that the exposition set up. And she's starting to kind of unravel a little bit.
Oh, bless.
And so Professor Doppler steps in and just says, "An explosion took place in the basement. We believe at this point it's likely in the cold storage area."
So, like, Let me see if I get it. Something exploded down there, right?
Yes, at the moment we believe that the lab assistant that was on duty down there, um, and then they kind of shout over their shoulder, Sylvie! And you can see kind of from behind a door where they were most likely probably panicking a little bit. A tune that's kind of stylized as almost like a fairy. You know, they're kind of they're kind of petite and they don't actually hover above the ground. They might be able to, who knows. And she comes out and just says, "Yeah, um, I might have. I went down there earlier, um, and I had to get a lot of stuff for the exposition. We were setting it up. Um, so my hands were full, so and I couldn't see what was happening, and I thought maybe I knocked into something, but I didn't have time. I couldn't go back around to check because I needed to get this stuff back up here, the stuff back up here in order to set up. And then you know we were doing more things. We got caught up in the prep, and I kind of forgot to mention it. That's most of the situation as we know it. Additionally, we have it contained to the basement at the moment. Um, our Professor Stein there is our warding specialist. Points to the penguin.
I'm loving all these names, Mark. I love them all so much.
Oh, thanks. I put effort into them, most of them. um,
It's going to the basement to rescue a teacher, if I'm correctly.
yes,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
actually. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Going to the basement to rescue a doctor, right?
Yes, him, and there are actually two others that were checked into the basement labs at the time. We are not aware of their location. They didn't check out. We usually have kind of a check-in, check-out system because the things that we have in those labs can be a little dangerous if we don't want people walking in there willy-nilly. Um, mhm.
So that is where you keep all the real science.
Dangerous. Oh, that sounds terrible. Really?
And Dr. Troit says, well, um, it's really more like the research projects and that kind of thing because all science is real science if you really think about it. I mean, it's just training up here to learn how to uh, do these things. Like you know, like your basic like like titrations or like your basic reactions that you're doing. But when we go downstairs, that's kind of like a lot of the larger scale research projects.
Yes, so the real science.
Sure.
The cooler place.
The fun science, so to speak.
The science that explodes.
But that's
Well,
Shrapnel.
gross.
Flinches at the mention of explosions because are there explosives down there? Because you can kind of guess he doesn't want to go there because he doesn't want to kill everybody.
It's like how much of the science down there is per se fun?
yeah.
Still,
What's
how much
do
of
you
the science
have like?
remains unignited?
Does Fuegory have like an actual reaction to this, or are you just kind of telegraphing what's going on in their mind right now?
He has a reaction, he flinches, and he also says that he also asks if there are any explosives down there because he is kind of hesitant on going if there are.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Professor Doppler just kind of looks up at you, and just kind of says, "Well, like as you may know, science can be pretty dangerous. especially the way that we do it here. There shouldn't be any other explosive elements as far as I am aware down in the labs, and we keep a pretty good eye on the things that go on down there. At this moment, we believe it was something in cold storage that I don't know, something must have gotten knocked over when Sylvie was down there. Sylvie, it's not like your fault. Well, it kind of is, but you're not like to blame. But also, we really have to take care of this. And Sylvie's just kind of standing there, like, okay.
Mark, before you go ahead, can you like check the wires on your mic because you're buzzing a little? Like there's something up with your microphone. It's kind of going all jittery.
Strange.
I thought it was a sound effect for that character.
it suits extremely well, but
yeah. Is
it
still doing it?
Game, yeah.
Maybe relog. It might be the internet.
Oh, it's the bees. Oh, dang it, the bees.
Oh god, no, the bees! The bees have gotten into the microphone.
We're going to right now. Technical difficulties, apparently.
Putting in the music.
Elevator music.
I'm trying to fill in the elevator music while Mock tries to work out them.
All right, is that anything?
Technical difficulties.
Is that anything? Did that work?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good now.
Excellent.
Hooray!
Hey.
Technical wizard.
Yeah.
Technically wizard.
So we going down?
Well, that's the situation as we know it. If there's one professor that was checked in at the time, generally very, very capable, so we don't know what exactly happened to them. Professor Wall, and the two students right now. And if you could, try to keep this a little bit quiet. We don't really want any other unexpected delays going on here with this with the exhibition here. We would be really grateful.
Discretion is my middle name. Dr. Worm is
Dr. Discretion Worm.
This whilst Dr. Discretion Worm. Wouldn't that be the first name? No, this is happening while Dr. Worm is sort of fiddling with the bee scrolls and various other junk that looks like it could possibly make a lot of noise.
Yeah, like, little bottles that clink together, anything. Awesome.
Eisen has just pulled out a leather-bound golden book, like a very fancy-looking book.
Ooh.
Neso just stays behind the flame guy because he looks tall.
He provides the most cover. Oh no.
Rip.
Fuegory just also tries to. He doesn't want to step back, but he doesn't want the kid to be near him because he causes fire damage. And that's what it's called.
Oh.
So it's like an awkward middle space.
Let's see.
Yeah. And I mean behind, like, almost grabbing him like a lost kid. Well, he looks really, like, nervous about the overall situation.
Are you grabbing him or did I hear it wrong?
Yeah, there's a small mouse right now behind Fuegory.
I would just insist, please don't touch me. And he's just like, you can see he's flustered because his flames are shooting up.
Aw, buddy. So do you guys want to accept this job since it's where the game goes? That's where the game is?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually,
Where
no,
we'll go
let's
just to make
ignore
sure
it.
everybody
No,
is
no,
okay.
we'll say no. We'll go back. I want to check out the ice skating rink. Actually, we just want to go back and we'll
looks
just like
fun.
hang out there instead.
I mean, in theory.
No.
No,
No,
definitely.
No, I know.
Yeah.
All right, great. So as you kind of go over, again, to the other side of kind of this back room, this is kind of where that penguin is. You can see that there's actually a set of stairs that go both up and down, and they go down like like when stairs go down like a tall level,
Yes.
like one of those. Where it's like it might as well be 2 levels or something, but it's just like one of those deals. They do that.
Ooh.
And the penguin turns to you guys, and so, I already forgot what voice I gave this penguin. And it says,
Annoyed.
that's true. And says, so basically, the I have a ward up. I'm actively maintaining it right now. It has a specific, duration, but in order to keep it up for as long as possible, I can kind of stretch it out. That's one of those things, one of those magic things, Um, and so I have a ward right now, kind of keeping everything in these sub-levels. There's 2 sub-levels, and you have to go through the first to get to the second because of some restrictions with building code, whatever. Uh, we really appreciate you guys doing this. And kind of steps aside.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Dr. Worm is just gonna go right on through. No perception checks, no nothing. Going
No,
down
why
the
would you?
stairs. There we go.
Well, you can see, you can see the stairs, like that's going on. That's
Yeah,
there.
there's nothing else to see. There's
No,
nothing.
this one-
Off I go.
This one's just stairs.
This one's just stairs.
Oh, this one's just stairs. And then you go down and you are in the did I call this one the basement or the sub-basement? I gave them different names.
Sub-basement.
And I never know which one is the one that it's actually supposed to be. I
Have
call
you
this
no
one the
idea?
basement. I'm pretty sure it's
Cool.
basement and then sub-basement, like the double basement.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because like the second thing would be like sub, right?
Right? Yeah. Beneath, like subtitle.
Yeah, like within it.
-1 floor.
Yeah, you are basically.
We go down.
So as you go down, you reach the floor level, and there's another door that you open, like a lot of like buildings kind of have that thing. And essentially you step out into this hallway that continues on forward and then turns at a certain point, and there's a few doors on either side of you. The ceiling is high, and it's pretty quiet in here. There's a vague kind of background hum of machinery, louder from one room than another. But that's kind of all that's going on here, unless you want to give me any other specific things.
Can Fuegory try searching for like maybe any tracks or that someone goes down there, maybe something that seems out of place?
Sure. I just do like a perception check for that.
Oh, that'd be. Wouldn't
Or
that be
investigation. No, you're right, investigation.
Okay.
I will give you guidance.
Ooh, bad news.
Let's
So-
go. Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, very nice. Okay, well, the first thing that you notice is there are a lot of things out of place, again, because there were tremors and kind of a big explosion. A lot of like, I'm assuming you're looking into, these doors do have windows. I'm assuming you're looking into the doors. Inside of the doors are these big lab rooms. It looks like there's a couple of doors that lead into each room. They're like pretty big. So there's like multiple exits or multiple entrances to each room. There's a lot of things that are on the floor. You can see there's like some flasks that have kind of gotten a little bit messed up. The room that has electrical equipment has some larger things with like but there are also like additional like smaller kind of like trinkets lying on the floor. I got a 19. So in the room to your right, I'm good at numbers and directions. In the room to your right, you can see something's moving around in there.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
I don't know how much I should give you for that.
I mean, 19's pretty high.
19's pretty good.
Yeah.
You see something moving around in there. This is the kind of electrical room where you see something moving around in there, and there's trinkets all over the floor, but you see kind of a pathway almost of trinkets, like someone has gone and cleared them out of a certain path almost. And you follow that in the room, and you can see kind of at the end of it, almost like a reverse snail trail. There is a little blob that has picked them up, and they are floating around inside of this little blob.
Friend! Friend!
I mean, there are still no initiative, so I'll assume it's friend.
Well, you haven't. It hasn't seen you yet.
Fuegory, just inspects that and he thinks, okay, this is not okay.
I'm gonna poke it.
Gentlemen, we have a problem.
What's
And
that?
he just
Yeah,
Still, this
it's-
mouse is hacked over, so what's that, guys?
Yeah,
I'm
it's a little kind of clearish blob. Oh, are you going into the room?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm walking in.
Well, when you do that, you can you can go to poke it.
You didn't expect this, did you?
No, it's just always a little harder in the moment to like know exactly what the hell's going on.
No, correct.
This is a slower moving thing than like other creatures can be. But how about we? It's just one thing. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, yeah, I mean, are you poking it with your hand? Are you poking it?
Yeah, he's just
With a
gonna
stick?
poke it with his right hand.
You're just gonna touch it.
Yep.
Fuegory just trying to
Cool.
stop him. But
It ain't his hand.
All right. Let
Sir,
me.
this is not a good idea. Please refrain from that. And he's just like at the side trying to tell him to stop.
Can you make a Constitution saving throw for me?
Good. Oh my god.
This is gone well.
And what's my constitution? That is a +2.
Oh yeah,
Hey.
this is totally fine. But as you do kind of touch it, your hand does sink into it, and it starts basically trying to kind of pull you in. It's a small, like creature. It's like 1 by 1, like 1 foot by 1 foot, or how many centimeters is that?
It's 30 by 30.
Sure, in that kind of zone. But it
Just
is
like
kind of trying to slurp up your arm.
just kind of glom onto your arm.
It
Could you not
does.
just pick it up.
Well, it's as it's doing that, you can tell this isn't going to take you out or do anything crazy, but you can feel it almost kind of prickling your flesh, and you realize in a moment that this is some kind of a poison that it's injecting you with.
Ouch.
Oh, you've
No.
made a friend.
Sir, Fuegory
Oh,
is just like
interesting. And he's gonna point blank a firebolt.
Okay.
At your own
I
arm.
mean,
No, he's
No,
summoning it
from the I
he
imagine it's
touched it with
from
his-
the hand that's in it,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is pretty good. I mean, if you're point blanking it with this for this, like I could have had you roll initiative, but it would just be like dead on turn 1. So I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of times with like creatures or like quote unquote opponents, if it's only one person and they're generally not like super difficult, I tend to kind of keep the flow going instead of, breaking to do initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I guess just roll your damage for that.
Cool. And because I'm level 5, no, 2d10. 13 fire damage.
Yeah, tell you what, that'll do it. The thing basically explodes into bits, into like giblets in your hand or then off of your hand.
Now covered in goo.
You're covered in goo now.
He's gonna plot a
This
handkerchief
was
and
very
begin wiping
irresponsible.
it off.
Are you okay? And he's just like inspecting the hand because he doesn't know what that was, but it seemed dangerous. So he's just like trying to see if anything happened to it, even though there was no damage.
Oh yeah, you
If
guys
anything-
you guys get peppered with like little trinkets as the thing explodes because it did have a bunch of them inside of it.
Ooh,
if
very
anything, he looks better off than when he was before because he now has temporary hit points because he's a fiend warlock. AKA, we get stronger the more we beat stuff up.
Very nice.
And so that's what's
I
there.
want to.
Yeah.
I want to like have a look at the stuff that got spat out of our like our very very temporary friend.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
like,
I would say
wanna
it's
go-
that was a pretty temporary as far as friends go.
Eisen is just going to pick a bit off his shoulder and drop it in Worm's hand.
One puts it in like their pocket question mark, and just accepts this as a gift.
Tribute.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does this thing react when it is in contact with heat or fire? Because, Fuegory?
I guess you're
Well,
gonna have to find
exploded.
out.
Exploded.
I guess you're gonna have to get into a fight with one of these.
Hey, can I like trying to hold the brain cell and do an investigation to know where exactly this creature came from?
Yeah, sure. As you're rolling that, I will tell you now that you've stepped into this room, there are a lot of big
Right.
machinery type things, and again, because this is kind of Toon related, you see one that has a big like laser on it that's pointing to like a little table.
Right.
It is labeled shrink ray.
Ooh.
There's also one that is just labeled big ol' magnet, and there's another one that is labeled disintegrating ray.
Oh, so many toys to
So
play
those
with.
are in this room, along with again the floor at this point is scattered. There's scattered like little trinkets and things.
I inspect those.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
investigation, perception, whatever it is.
I had.
I will be right back.
So,
Just continue on without me.
Okay.
But this machine looks dangerous, and the mouse is getting more nervous. Why do they have things like that?
For science.
Why are use things like that? These
I
are
mean, this
For
is a
science, clearly. These are science
This is a
machines.
scientific institution, but
not good
um,
science.
Kanpukugu,
Oh,
your dice roll
gone far away again.
didn't work.
Oh,
Hello? Am I back?
you've
Yeah.
gone very far away.
Why?
No, did
Oh.
you not collect the volume or something?
Technical difficulty.
my goodness.
It's a bit impressive.
Oh no, we've lost our DM.
Oh, am I back yet? 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 Hello.
Welcome back.
We were just
Sorry for the
about
technical
to stage a revolution and
difficulties.
take the game from you.
No, it's my game. You can't have it. Kanpukugu, can you make that roll again? I think you need to put a space in between the plus and the 3
Oh,
on Dice Parser.
yeah.
Actually, no space. That's the problem.
Oh, no
There should be
space.
no space.
Sorry, no space. I don't remember how things work.
Do I roll anything to inspect what was in that greens in that goo, or like the trinkets on the floor?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, can I do that too?
What was
Can I
the
do that too?
what was Kampu? What was that roll for?
Investigation, I guess.
Oh,
It
to
was
find
for-
out where it came from. Yeah, it came from the kind of the far side. You follow that trail kind of backwards, or like the reverse trail, and
Yeah.
it came from the other side of the room. And there's a door down that way. That's where it came from. The door is closed.
Okay, in my the guy is obviously scared, but he's just going to he's just going to open the door and like peek, like what's inside?
Well, it's more like what's outside. This door leads back to the hallway. Like I said, each of these rooms has multiple doors, 2 or 3 doors, like per each room, that are just into the room and then back into the hallway. Probably just because it's a big old room and you want to get to a door. You know, if you're trying to get out of the room, you got to get to a door as quick as possible. So there's a few doors.
Oh, so that door leads back to the hallway.
Yep.
Can I keep following the trail?
Well, the hallway doesn't have anything that's like really scattered on it that would be like have been picked up by this entity. So you can't really
So
see where
it's
it
not
came
like-
from. It's not like I said,
Okay.
it's not like exactly like a snail trail. It doesn't actually leave like goo
Oh.
behind it.
Oh yeah, so it's making like a clear pathway through the junk that was on the
Yeah,
floor.
because
just
it's
from
picking
okay,
stuff,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
picking stuff up, or it kind of like scoots stuff out of the way. It's, you know,
Door is and a sticky ball or something.
yeah. You could call it a sticky ball of something. Someone else want to make some rolls?
what
Yeah,
are we-
no. I think both me and Sharoo were trying to roll to like inspect the like all the junk that kind of lies around on the floor. Like
yeah, perception,
all the
investigation. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I would give me a
investigation, right?
yeah, investigation, or I might take Arcana.
Ooh.
I'll take
yes.
I'll roll
I'm
Arcana.
taking Arcana because proficiency.
I have no bonuses in either of those, so 11.
All right, well, based on that,
23.
okay, I'll tell them what they know first.
Yep.
These are like small, basically like smaller kind of inventions type thing. There's basically just a lot of things that are kind of scattered around. What did I put in here? That essentially, I guess they were experimenting on these objects, on these items. And then Denzel, as you get a good look at these things, you can see that they are basically they're magic items. They're like enchanted items, but they weren't enchanted like purely by magic. There was some kind of additional process that was going on. It likely has to do with the electricity kind of element of this room. But they are functional magic items, and I'll tell you also this because you rolled so high. Most of them absolutely worthless.
Yeah, like doing magic just for doing magic.
Not exactly. Like there's one that's there's a couple of there's like a ring that's there. There's a kind of a set of armor thing going on. There's a lot of there's like a hat that's also there. It's just like a lot of small things. Basically, oh, there's a pair of boots.
Are they like when you say small things? Are they like miniature, as in like they've been miniaturized by the shrink machine, or are they just sort of like small as in they are not, or are they small as in they are normal small items?
A little bit of both. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There's boots that have been shrunk. The hat is regular
Tiny
size.
shoes? I pick up the tiny shoes and put
Ring is regular size. Oh, you're taking the tiny shoes?
I'm taking the tiny shoes.
Excellent. I don't know how this works if they've been shrunk and it's a magic item, because magic items usually you can like put them on and they'll change size.
Hey, you said there was in the magical items a hat, right?
There is a hat. It is a nice looking I'll call it like a bowler hat.
I pick it up.
Fuegory just looks at the things and just takes up one of like one or two rings that are there. He thinks that maybe it's someone else's and maybe it's valuable to someone, so he just wants to return that. And he
Aww.
puts it in his pocket.
Oh, that's
No,
really
wait.
sweet.
Now that I have the hat, I go with Fuegory and I said, "Hey, thanks for the twisted sandwiches. I think you will like this." And I give him the hat.
Oh,
Oh.
that's really sweet.
I mean, yes,
And the hat says, "Wow, nice job. That's really sweet."
wait, the hat.
Fuegory goes from being like apologetic because he can't take the hat because it will just burn up to like, what is happening? And then he's like, tries to collect himself and he's like, good evening. And he just looks at the hat and is like, oh.
The hat just talked, right?
Yeah, don't worry, you're not going crazy.
I suppose you're one of the little inventions they've cooked up here in this room. Am I correct?
Wow, good going. You're really smart.
Are you naturally this sarcastic hat?
I don't know if that's being sarcastic. I want to remind it, I have fire. Lots of it.
Oh, all of my comments are absolutely genuine. You guys are doing a great job.
Unfortunately.
Hey, but wait. If the hat do stop, he might know what's happening here, right? Right?
Oh yeah, no, we can actually. Well, that is genuinely a good point. Somebody is actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. Can we ask the hat, like, what's going on? Like, what happened?
Huh?
I did not anticipate. I put this in here, and I kind of forgot you guys might talk back to the hat.
Did you think we were going to burn it the first chance we got?
No, I just.
Seriously.
I mean, it is a hat.
Does
because
the hat
it doesn't necessarily have great perception?
No, it really doesn't. Okay, okay. I'm in it.
Okay.
It was asleep.
I mean, well, I was asleep, and then I fell down. That's what the hat says.
Helpful. Extremely helpful.
I look around for a shelf.
I mean, there are a few.
I'm just going to take the hat and put it on a random shelf.
Nessus,
Oh no, that wasn't your present.
we're talking now. Just shut up, kid. Well, that was not helpful at all.
Fuegory, if it makes a difference, this is technically a magical hat, and so it won't be destroyed by fire.
Yeah, but it's also a sentient object, so I can just give someone to another person. That's not good.
That's true. That's true. You have to find some other way to replay Fuegory for the toasted sandwiches.
Yep.
Oh no.
You're still in debt.
Okay, and what?
Hmm?
Okay, can I roll persuasion to the hat?
Go for it. Please persuade the
We're
hat.
doing this, huh? We're doing this.
Hey, Mr. Hat. I believe that instead of staying in this cold, terrible place, you could be part of my fire friend hat collection. What do you think?
Well,
Oh wait.
126.
The world's most successful persuasion check. Oh, okay, that's a bit more like it.
All right.
What do you
Uh,
think?
the hat says, "Yeah, that's a pretty good idea."
Here it is then, and I give the hat back.
I love that you Fuegory didn't even ask for this hat. Like,
He
we're
just has it
desperately
now.
trying to reunite
He has
them.
a talking hat now.
He does have a talking hat.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you have a talking hat.
I kind of got lost. Who gets the hat? What?
You
Fuegory,
do.
a talking hat.
He has two hats, and you're putting a hat on him without him knowing that it is fireproof. He's just like very confused. Like, excuse me.
Oh no! What should happen, right? What you need to do, right? Is to take this magical talking hat and then balance it on top of the hat that Fuegory already has, and then you've got a hat for the hat.
It's basically kind of a modified version of this. So it's helm of encouragement, a somewhat sentient helm which offers useless but kind-hearted comments every now and then. Ooh, so close. It's okay, you'll hit him next time, buddy. Good call tossing out that pear. It's been sitting in your pack for way too long.
This is
It's a modified version of that.
good. Oh, this is extremely good.
I suppose this is the hat of encouragement.
Let me
I
talk
like that a lot.
weapon for a moment. Hey, he's like you, but actually a good character. Shut up, kid.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Rude.
Uh, so where are we going?
Yeah, what were we doing? We had a job to do, right?
You did
We
have-
got distracted
you
by
did, you
talking
did.
hats.
Gentlemen, I am thoroughly confused at what is happening. And he just looks up and at this hat and he's like, he is confused because of this group, you can tell, and he's not taking it well. But he just tries to calm. I think we should follow the trail of whatever that weird thing was. So
That leads out the door,
they
yes.
are probably do that. And he's just like, please, let's get going.
Yeah, so are we heading? We're heading back. We're heading back out the door. Like this was
Are
a
you
fun
heading
run,
out
but
the-
ultimately,
Are you heading out the door that you came in from, or the door on the other side, kind of where the like quote unquote trail ends?
oh, definitely the
That's
trail,
right.
right?
I
Okay.
was gonna say, what other
Fuegory
magical
just
items did
told
I
that-
notice?
Oh, let's see. What is on this list that I made? I looked up a lot of magic items because I like them a lot.
Eee.
Along with the hat of encouragement, there was Dr. Worm took the boots,
I
so
got the boots.
you can't look at those.
Nope, I haven't. I haven't even looked at them. Dr. Worm hasn't even looked at them. They just took them and then forgot about them.
There's
Fuegory
definitely
just-
there's definitely a few more rings that are there. You got a really high score, so I'll name a couple of them for you. One of them is
Fuegory
a.
took two, but he doesn't know what's happening with those. He just thinks they're precious to someone.
Did you take all of the rings? There were like a bunch of rings. There was like at least 10 rings on the floor.
He took like, let's say, 3.
Okay, well, the rings that I specified were here were the ring of fire detection, a ring of fire deflection, a ring of fire objection, and a Ring of Fire rejection.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think. What is the difference between the last three? So
The Ring of Fire detection is there. Glows when fire is
Yeah.
near.
Yep.
The Ring of Fire deflection lets
Ring
you. These are simple, so I'm just giving this to you. The Ring of Fire deflection lets you use a reaction to basically deflect any kind of like flame-based spell kind of thing. The Ring of Fire objection, you can use a reaction or like a bonus action to put out a small flame. And the Ring of Fire rejection gives you resistance to fire damage.
I'll take the resistance to fire damage.
Okay, you've got the Ring of Fire rejection.
Okay. Can I make a terrible, horrible, very bad, very evil question?
Sure.
What will happen if we use the ring of fire objection in Fuegory?
Oh no!
In what?
No! Don't do that!
No, Fuegory is too strong a flame for that. It's meant for like little sparks or like the beginning of a campfire kind of thing.
Yeah, listen, he has druid crab. This is basically druid crab, and he doesn't put himself out. He's too hot for that. Just trust me, it won't work.
Sorry, it was just for scientific.
Actually,
For
I'll put these-
scientific research. Which is
Yeah.
what
Randy, what are you
we're
doing
all
here?
about.
I'll actually put
Go
these
back
all
to
the
Blitzman.
names of all of these. I had fun with this.
Extremely good.
I'm sorry to nag about it, but does Fuegory get anything, or does he not recognize any of those rings?
You don't recognize what any of them are. You can probably tell they're magical, but that's about it. Denzel got a really high Arcana check on that.
What rings are still like there?
It's
Shut
a
up, them.
great question. What are some more rings that I had?
Wait, of the first of rings.
I just can't wait until Fuegory puts all the three rings that he got on his fingers, and suddenly he's a fish or something.
Just like there's just cacophony of different magical effects.
Yeah, you're just master of yourself.
Okay, can I actually say that he puts one ring on because he knows it's magic, and even a gentleman has curiosity, so he puts like a random ring on his finger.
Okay. Out of how many rings?
I got 3.
Roll a d4 for me.
One moment.
Bing, 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 bing.
Number 2.
Well, okay. This one is kind of ironic, is the problem. This one is a ring of swimming. And I didn't do this on purpose.
An aquaphobe.
This is the best one you could have
It
picked.
gives you a swimming speed of 40 feet while you're wearing it. So that's you got that going for
this
you.
property, or is it just random? Does he know it gives him swimming speed?
You'd
I
have to
thi-
make some
well,
kind of Arcana check,
Yeah,
right?
you probably should make some kind of check. I'm just telling you it because I'm gonna forget what you all have immediately.
And also because it's the funniest damn thing to happen
Yeah,
in this game so far.
sometimes you just get like a handful of like a few of these items actually are semi-useful.
I mean, here's the thing: it would be kind of useful. It's just it just happened to end up in the hands of the one member of the party who not only like cannot presumably cannot swim, but would not swim in
No,
any
absolutely.
conceivable circumstance.
You just get like a handful of fun items together, and then you know, you don't always think of specifically who's in the party and who might pick them up. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty simple kind of scenario. I think you can tell it's a like a, if anything, it's a water-based ring. There's water enchantments kind of on it.
Fuegory's kind of he thinks this will either very much harm me or this will very much help me. So he decides to leave the ring on his finger just in case.
Living on the edge.
Of course, if it's someone's, but
You said there are still there, right?
Hmm?
You said there are still rings there, or is all the magic stuff we found?
There's, well, yeah, technically there's a couple more rings.
Can I pick one?
Sure. I mean, do you know what they are?
Nah.
Are you just picking up a random one?
Yeah.
We've just completely abandoned any pretense of like
Like, this is an
being on a
academic
mission.
institution.
This is just a looting / shopping trip.
This is an
now.
academic institution. You are stealing. Like, I don't know what to, like,
We are not witnessing science. We are experimenting.
okay, you know what? Sure. If that's how you want to, if that helps you sleep at night, that's fine.
I just think a random ring, and once I have it, I probably use Arcana to know what it is or something.
right. Unless you guys want to do something else, I will have Fuegory just actually will just try on the ring and be like, can we just go, gentlemen? I think we have hostages or victims around.
Oh yeah, we've got people's. We're still
You
supposed to be
absolutely
saving.
are.
That is
There's
true.
people around that, yes.
We got so distracted by the shinies.
And no one even pulled the lever for the disintegrating ray, which is really a shame.
I am
No.
moving way out.
No, we have to leave this room. We have to.
You
leave
have
this
to leave the room.
We've been
Go.
here for so
Fuegory is
long.
just like
Please, can we
pushing
leave this
Dr. Worm
room?
with the cane that he has. He's just like, sir, please let's go, and he's just gently like poking him with his
Oh
cane,
my
like
God.
not forceful, but he's trying to get him out of the room.
Yeah, so I just pick the ring and I run out.
Okay, you have a ring. I know what it is, and when it's time, I'll tell you what it does.
When it's time.
Or Arcana, or I just discover it.
You need to
Let's
take.
try and find.
You know what? Give me an Arcana check.
Let's see what we get. This is just Russian roulette with
Okay.
dimes and all.
Wow. It's a ring of jumping. Yeah, that one's a ring of jumping. It.
Jumping Jehoshaphat, what is happening?
It basically is like.
Ring of jumping. Very well.
Yeah. As a bonus action at will.
Okay,
you can target yourself with it. Big ups.
Mug.
Are we continuing? Like, do you guys want to actually do the mission?
Yes.
I would recommend it.
But I think Mug.
Mark, you're quite far away
Mark?
from your
Far away again?
mic.
I have no idea.
Mark, you've gone away again.
No.
Mark!
Mark is in his too
Mark,
of his, his
please come back. We need to leave this room.
Oh, I know why it's doing that. Okay, give me a sec.
I think they're having a conversation.
Possibly. Oh.
So,
Okay.
no wait.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, what?
Hey, welcome back again.
So the thing, am I back?
No.
You're so far
Oh,
away.
distant.
Yeah.
Now I'm back.
There we go.
Yes, hello. It works.
The technical difficulty I'm having, if anyone is curious, if anyone's following along at home, is that I'm using a Bluetooth, like, kind of speaker thing scenario, and the Bluetooth keeps cutting out, so it's defaulting back to my laptop's microphone, which is not where my face is. Anyway,
Right.
are you guys leaving this room?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Finally! Oh, good job!
I'm deeply annoyed that we did not get the chance to try out some of the machines, but we have been like floor shopping for so long, and these people that we're supposed to be rescuing are probably dead by now.
You know what? As you
Can we go
make
and
a
look for
move,
somebody?
as you make a move to leave the
We're
room,
just running,
the hat
following
chimes
the
in and
trail
says, "Good
between
idea, guys."
What happens?
No, sorry. As you guys make a move to leave the room, the hat chimes in and says, "Good idea, guys. There's a lot more to see."
We will take advice from the hat. Okay, I'm guessing are we following the door with the quote unquote trail leading from it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We go through that.
As you go out of it, where'd that go? I have things. I want you guys to make a perception check. I'm gonna contest
Alrighty.
this.
I just have 5. Okay, that's not good.
Because I believe.
Perception, right?
16.
13.
15.
Don't worry about it.
Don't like that.
14.
No, it's fine.
We notice like absolutely nothing.
Don't even worry about it. It's totally fine.
Okay, fantastic.
You're back in the hallway.
We're back in the same hallway.
Yes, but a little further down.
Okay, cool. What is the closest door on the other side?
Okay, good, because I would have just said the one you came out of.
No, yeah, I know you would. The other side of the hallway. Which is the closest door on the other side of the hallway?
At the other side of the hallway is kind of offset, but still just across. It brings you to a different room.
Okay,
And
cool.
you know what? The perception checks that you did roll are good enough specifically to say you do hear kind of a ruckus coming from that room.
Ooh, is this one of the doors that has like the windows on? Or...
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm gonna have a look. Dr. Worm's gonna sort of like. I imagine that Dr. Worm is normally like fairly short. In the sort of like this blob shape. They're gonna have to sort of like squish up like in a little narrow sort of.
Like the thing where they
to look through
go,
the window.
like they go up and then like flap onto the window and their face is against the window.
Yes. No, I'm just gonna have a look through the window. Yes.
In this room, you can see some more of those blobby creatures. First off,
Ooh.
these ones look a little different. They appear to have kind of spiky bits coming off of them.
Oi.
And there's a lot of, and you can tell the reason for that is that there's a lot of kind of broken bottles and glass containers on the ground. You wouldn't want to be walking in there barefoot, I'll tell you that much. There's chemicals on the ground. Some of them are bubbling. Some of them are just kind of there. There looks like there's a huge, like an oil slick kind of in the middle of this room.
Good thing I get the mouse shoe.
Good, yes, it is good to have shoes. That's a good idea. And
Okay,
if you're right up against the door, I would say one of them starts coming toward you. One of the spiky
Ooh.
boys.
Huh?
Oh, okay. Dr. Worm steps back from that door and immediately proceeds down the corridor as though nothing is wrong.
Okay, great.
Wait, something is like, what's happening? I'm sorry, what's happening?
No, listen, there was some stuff in a room. We're not going in that room.
There was some stuff in the room. It looked like very dangerous stuff. It probably looks very deadly. Dr. Worm does not like small, sharp, pointy things because they are made up of some like a lot of very easily puncturable small things. So they're not going in that room.
All right.
How
Well,
many of them are there?
Hmm?
Like, how many of the slimes are there?
the kind of pointy, the ones that have kind of pointy stuff sticking out of them, that are in that room. There's 2 of them.
So then-
These are a little bigger than the first one that you saw, but they're not like huge. They're like
Fuegory just
probably
looks to Denzel.
come up to your hip at most.
Okay.
Fuegory's hip is kind of high. That's
Well, you the player who's likely of
I
a
know,
semi-average
I know,
height.
Denzel. Fuegory just looked to Denzel because in his mind, leaving those things around is not a good idea because they can cause more trouble. So he'll be like, but you assist me.
Oh yeah, I mean it's basically it's at the door right now. If you guys are still standing outside of it, it's at the door and you can see it kind of sliding underneath the
I'm
door.
gonna open the door and cast Scorching Ray.
Go for it.
Just explode the thing.
Are you casting it
And,
right at it, like right at your feet?
I'm going to cast it so that 3 of them the first 3 hit that slime, and the other 2 will head to the second slime.
Do these automatically hit, or do you have to make the spell
I
attack?
have to make an attack. Roll.
How many slimes are there?
There's again the spiky things. There's 2 spiky things.
Oh, spiky things. How many? 2?
Yes.
Nothing else?
Well, like I said, there's chemicals all over the floor. There's broken glass, and there's kind of
Yeah.
a big kind of a
So I have
what
a
basically looks like an
+7.
oil spill.
So there's a bunch of environmental hazards, so...
Well, but it's too late because I already rolled.
Fantastic.
Wait, did you have to roll to hit
Alright,
though?
let's see what explodes.
Because the way it works is it's multiple attacks at once.
Yes.
Did you do?
So, yeah, that's what Scorching Ray is.
Oh my god.
And I have
Oh, this one's scorching right.
Five.
Okay.
I have +7 to hit, so that's a 12, an 11, a 15, a 21, and a 17 to hit.
You know,
I mean,
don't
yeah,
know
they
why
do
we
hit.
Were ever worried. I don't know why we were ever worried about like having enough attack spells or anything like that when we were talking about this game before. Clearly, we have got it handled. We just blow everything up before we can even roll initiative.
Yeah,
How many do I hit?
I mean, yeah, the 2 spiky guys are, basically obliterated. Can you make a dex save for me? You and anyone who's standing in that doorway?
Everyone.
Well, Dr. Worm has
Yeah.
moved down the hallway.
No, I explicitly like before said. I just Dr. Worm is moving off to
Oh, no.
investigate other doors. So everybody except Dr. Worm.
So
So yeah,
I just
I'm
killed.
sticking back. Fuegory, so it's like, yeah.
So I just killed 2 more things, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then I almost have my HP in temporary hit points.
Wow,
Okay.
Very
guys.
good at 4. What does that entail?
Okay.
Okay.
If I stand in the doorway, can I take the blunt of the hit?
Nope, because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't have a mechanic for that.
Damn it.
So Denzel, you're fine. Nezuma, you're fine. Fuegory, take 2 points of damage.
How
As
many?
Alright.
this thing explodes. This
Ouch.
thing explodes and doesn't explode, but like the way that he killed it caused it to explode basically. And the like a kind of a glass shard kind of gets you. Just a nick, but
Ooh, ouch.
not fun. And as you do that, and as you've opened the door, you know that like kind of oil spill that I was describing?
Yeah.
Um,
Does the oil spill do, Mark?
you see it kind of move
Oh no.
closer to you.
Oh wait.
no.
Fuegory just Fuegory just notices it and immediately uses Produce Flame.
Okay.
How many damage
Okay.
we take from the explosions?
2.
2 damage?
Oh no, you're fine.
Yes.
You're fine. It was literally beat a 5.
Ah.
One moment. How?
So,
I don't remember.
Fuegory, what are you
Are there
doing?
different modifiers for ranged spell attacks, or because I'm kind of bad at this? Sorry.
I'm sorry, what spell are you using?
Produce flame, and it makes a flame that I can chuck, and it deals to the 8 of damage.
So that would be your wisdom and your proficiency to make an attack?
Yep.
With my wisdom, a moment.
Okay. There are still
Dirty 20.
Yeah, I mean, that'll do it.
Okay.
You definitely hit this thing. So roll your 1d8 of fire damage. Oh, you have 2d8 because you're yes.
Should
All
we
right.
maybe have done initiative at this point? Or...
Yeah, you know what? I kind of forgot about initiative. How about you roll?
Roll initiative.
How about we do an initiative? Oops.
How many?
Because I think it's like, we just go in and there's we have like a surprise round on the.
Yeah, I would give
the-
you.
the
I am
spikies,
giving you. You
that's
know what?
fair enough.
You are getting a surprise round. So you've already. Yeah. So Denzel's gone and Fuegory's gone in this surprise round that we've done.
Yeah. But then he just takes off his glove, and when he already is stressed, so when he just notices this moving, so and just chucks his hand at the thing, and then it just regrows from fire, and he puts the glove back on.
Ooh, very nice.
Flavorful. Sorry, I'm just trying to get people's.
How many creatures are left?
It's just the one. And as you attack it with this flame, let me make sure I know what is happening. 13 damage.
It kind of rears up, and you
Your
see...
Bluetooth thing's cut out again, Mark.
Oh no.
Mark!
Does what happen?
You've been eaten by the slime!
I mean, it's trying.
This session is cursed.
This is the
It is super cursed. We go floor shopping for 5 hours and then we come the time.
All right.
We just.
And then okay, yeah, 22 for Dr. Worm.
Well, because I now have resistance stuff, I can now do my original strategy.
Set everything on fire, just explode it.
Fireball
No, just
center
walk
on
up.
yourself.
Yeah, just go. Walk up to something, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to do that? Okay, fireball, point blank.
Fireball, point blank.
Also, I will say that at some point, Fuegory is just gonna put his hand in the and accidentally
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
because I want to know what they do.
I'm sorry, you're
I know
You're just gonna put them all on.
You're breaking up a little bit. Can I
Nesu is just giving you moral support right now.
Am I far away again?
Also, just
Mark, where are
imagine
you?
this double-hatted fire just chucking his hand at people. This mental image is just like so
Hello?
freaking silly.
I love it though. I love it when we, because here's the thing. Small confession. I'm not always a massive fan of like the plain flavor. A lot of the D&D spells and stuff. So I love it when characters like design. So just throwing like the hands and stuff at people is, you know what? It's just fun. It's like catch these hands. Catch these hands.
So Denzel, if you're gonna walk up to this thing, are you saying that you are moving within 5 feet of it? Or are you...
No, I'm not. He's not moving. He's not.
Oh man, that's so sad. Anyway,
Or just standing in the doorway.
you just stand at the doorway trying to get this thing. Well, no, because in our impromptu surprise round, you already kind of acted, so it was if Nezuma wanted to do anything or if Dr. Worm wanted to do anything, and then we start from the
Dr.
top of the
Once again,
round.
Dr. Worm. Well, I think Dr. Worm is has only really just sort of clocked that something is still going on there, and probably doesn't really have enough information to kind of act on.
Yeah, and then
So
Nezuma, do you want to do
kind of
anything?
Yeah.
The place is still not in fire, right?
No.
Thanks. So after we clear those creatures, there is a room, right? A room.
There's a room with a creature in it.
Yeah, it's a big, you know that big
It's
oil
a
slick
big
thing?
black slime that looks like an oil slick.
Oh my god. We haven't entered there, right?
You haven't entered the room yet, but
Shall we
it's
just
aware
close
of you.
the door? We just close the door.
It's your decision.
You know that will not work. This thing can like slip under it.
Fine.
That's how it works. The people we have to rescue will be there.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
But yeah.
Do you want to do anything? You can just pass if you want.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I get a little bit closer to the black big thing?
Sure, how close do you want to get?
Enough to not get hurt, but to see what's inside in that room.
Okay. I mean, in the room. Make a perception check.
Oh my god. Okay, game's on. 12?
Yeah, that's enough. You can see, basically there's this big oil-looking slime that is kind of, has started to kind of rise up, and it's in front of you, basically, like 15 feet away. And then on the other side of the room, up on one of the shelves, there's like tall shelves that at one point held a lot of bottles with chemicals, but now all of those bottles are shattered on the floor. Up on one of those shelves, and it's kind of around a corner, right? So up on one of those shelves is, you see a person? You see a Toon?
Okay.
They are up there, and they are like looking around, like, because they didn't see you in the doorway, but as you step forward, you can kind of see them like against the wall. Like, you know, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like against the same wall as that you're standing at, and you gotta kind of like look around. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, so the big cold thing is getting bigger, right?
It's rearing up.
Well, it's like rising, like,
Yes.
oh my god. Okay. The small and cowardly mouse, of course, gets scared and runs away, screaming, "Ah, it's a monster!" What? Because I want to use the rest of the turn to head to an unoccupied room. You know what's coming next.
Okay. Go for it.
So
Do you want
yeah.
to describe now or next time you have a kind of a move?
And I think it goes the next turn because here is like moving there.
Okay, yeah. And with that, we are going to start at the top of the initiative. And that is Dr. Worm. What do you want to do? Have you communicated to have you communicated to your teammates, by the way, that there's a person in here?
Oh, have I seen that there's
No,
a person
no,
in there?
Nezuma?
Oh no, that's good.
Have you told your team that there's someone in here?
A monster. Help me, a monster.
Okay, but you didn't say there's like another person, you just said help me.
Yeah.
Great. Good to know. Okay, top of the initiative, Dr. Worm.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I'm just gonna save time and say that Dr. Worm has heard the ruckus, come back and to investigate what's going on.
So
Has caught the
blasé.
situation and just yes, bad. That doesn't really. Is that gonna take up all my movement? Or was if the
No,
corridor
you
not
you
that
could have
long?
made it back kind of from in the time that like from your last turn when you. I mean, unless you were actively running away still for the last turn, but if you kind of stopped and came back, like we're playing theater of the mind. It's a little loose. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I have a spell here that would be interesting to cast. I don't know if I'm very bad at reading all this stuff.
What is the spell called?
It is called Spike Growth. The ground in a 20-foot radius centered on a point within range twists and sprouts hard spikes and thorns. The area becomes difficult terrain for the duration of the spell. When the creature moves into or within the area, it takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet it travels. I quite want to target that spell at the oil slick and turn the ground underneath it into many pointy things.
Okay.
Can I add to this? Can we say that Dr. Worm just tells Fuegory his plan, and Fuegory's eyes just light up, and he takes out, like, I don't know, 3 buckets worth of seeds and just throws them on the ground, and then Dr. Worm alongside Fuegory make the spikes grow?
Ooh, yes,
That is excellent.
Extremely good flavor.
Fluff for that.
Let's do
That's
it,
great.
let's
That's great.
together.
Hey, you guys are like a
These
team or
druids.
something. Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. Does anything happen as it when a creature moves? So yeah, it's basically it moves into the area right now. Roll your 2d4. Roll your 2d4 piercing damage.
Oh, I've got to cast it, right? I've got to make a spell check to see if I cast it. Is that right?
I don't think you have to. No, it's only you're thinking of like spell attack. You're thinking like spell attack rolls.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This one just happens.
Yeah. We just cast it.
Can you tell that I don't often play spellcasters?
Hey man,
Don't worry
it's
about
good to
that.
try different things. So good job on you for trying something new.
Yay! Okay. What's my what to do? I'm casting it at level 2. So that's 2d4 piercing damage.
I love the
All right,
image of
great.
this floor covered with roses and everything that's painful in nature.
Yes, they're like these most beautiful, amazing roses. 7. There we go.
All right, awesome. And then Nezuma, you're up.
Okay. I'm in an empty room, right? Oh my god, I have been waiting all this session for this. Wait me a moment. Wait me a small moment.
Okay. So how you guys doing?
I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, he muted himself.
So maybe I had a thing to take care of.
Yeah.
Do we want to? Well, no. Next is actually the slime's turn, and so we are gonna have to wait. Oh, are you back?
Sorry, I have a little inconvenient, but I'm ready. Once I am in an empty room, it's really empty, right?
The room?
Yeah, an empty room, a place where nobody can see right now.
No. I mean, there is a slime in the room, and your companions are at the doorway, and also there's another person.
I keep running then until reaching one of this.
Okay.
Empty.
Okay. You can find like maybe like a closet or like a storage area to do this.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's going to be.
But
so
the process of finding the place and moving to it and then doing your thing will probably take the turn.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. Once the mouse has this panic attack and went into hiding, the mallet is like, kid, you know what to do, and this guy is, but thing is enormous, and get a hold of yourself and just do it. And suddenly we go to this scene that is going the kid grabbing a toy like little helmet and throws it into the sky and say, "Mallet of music, energy, give me the courage to face evil." And a thunder strikes him, and ta-da! He's now transformed into a superhero.
Woohoo!
Just this lightning striking down out of nowhere. We are in the basement.
All right.
Yeah, and once he's now in his this like hero costume and all, he returns to there. I don't know if everyone else hear the lagging or something, but here it is. That's it. My God.
Okay, awesome. With that, your turn is up. I'm trying to double check on something here, and I'm not finding it. That's okay. Um, bup, 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 bup. It is the Ooze's turn, or the slime's turn, whatever. So what it's gonna do is use its fun special ability. Whoa. Yeah, it's gonna moan low like that, whatever that sound was. That's fun. So it's gonna do that, and you see it kind of as it was looming up, right? Now it kind of like squishes itself back down, almost the way that one would like wring a sponge. And out from it comes this kind of black, like iridescent, like kind of like uh, basically grease. This basically functions as a grease spell, um, in a 10-foot square centered on this slime. And now it counts as difficult terrain also. I think they don't stack, but this is very difficult terrain, y'all. It's slippy, there's thorns, wild. So that's happening. That is the slime's action. Is anyone standing close-ish to it? Or are we all still kind of in the
Thunder is in
doorway?
the entrance. I don't know
Oh,
how
it should
far
have
it is
moved. It should have
from-
moved toward you. I'm a dummy.
So,
Should I
does
check?
it do anything else or?
Yeah, you know what? It's gonna do that, but then it's gonna move toward you. Just double checking some of the things on this guy. Okay, and it's basically so it's come toward you, and it's basically kind of like half in, half out the doorway. And it's a pretty low, like kind of creature, but it's up to like kind of ankle height. It's just around you. It's in your space.
So it like stays still after doing.
Wait, is it in my space? Is it touching me?
Yes. Also, it had to move through that
Alright,
difficult terrain. So where did you center that, Dr. Worm?
Dr. One?
Dr. Worm.
Wait. Hey?
Oh yeah, sorry. I had my mic muted, and I completely forgot. I did wonder why I was saying stuff and like you didn't notice, but no, I had my mic muted. I'm so sorry.
Oh
no. The spell was centered just on the creature's original position.
Okay. I said it originally said it was about 15 feet from you, so it has to move through that.
Yeah, so it has to move through. Yeah, it's like the ground in a 20-foot radius. For every 5 feet it travels, it takes 2d4 piercing damage. I'm guessing
It's gonna
as
have
an
to
ooze
take a
it might have.
bunch.
Yeah, but as an ooze, it might have resistance to piercing, or is it slashing? I forget.
I think it's piercing.
These are this one's interesting. So
Like,
I'm just gonna roll this once and triple it.
Yeah, go for it. Saves time.
Yep. What's 21.
21.
Okay. You know what? This ooze is not looking very good after having to move through all of this this like spiky terrain. It looks
Ugh.
like it's not quite as like gelatinous as some other oozes and things of that nature tend to be. And so it is not looking good at all, really. That did a number on it.
Very nice.
Is it when something enters your space, or is it when you start your turn? It's a great question.
what again? What? Sorry, you're cutting a little on my end because connection.
I'm just trying to check if it's when it enters your space, or when it.
There's my what?
No. It's when a creature moves within 5 feet of the oil slick. That's a reaction. We'll do it at the start of your turn. So basically,
Right.
it's taking up the doorway and like a little bit on both sides. It's a large creature, so it takes up like 2 squares technically. So whoever's kind of in that area, I think Denzel was, and either Dr. Worm or Fuegory, you guys can figure that out.
Dr. Worm.
Okay.
I mean, Fuegory is kind of in the entrance because he was just chucking a fireball at this thing, but I don't know.
I'm going to say Dr. Worm because Dr. Worm technically was the person who. Dr. Worm was technically the one who cast the spikes. So.
Yeah, go for it. Okay.
Yeah,
that'll
cool.
be a thing
does
for
that
later.
affect anything?
Not yet. Fuegory, it's your turn.
Yeah. Whose turn?
Fuegory's turn.
Yeah, it's mine. So seeing the thing move even closer to him, Fuegory just he takes off his glove again and just chucks another fire, another Produce Flame on the creature because.
All right, go for it.
Right.
I will be right back because I can hear my cat.
Cat.
Okay.
Tell them that they are very good cats.
Is it 10 hit?
Yeah, you hit it.
Okay.
This thing it's large, so it's not hard to hit. Yeah, you did 12 damage to it. As you hit it with this kind of like mote of flame, you can see it kind of like, I don't even want to say give up, but you just kind of see it stop like oozing around like your companion's feet, and it just kind of almost like deflates and lays down on the floor.
Oh. Did you kill it?
Yeah, you killed it.
Hooray!
Gregory just pulls his glove back on, dusts himself up, and says, "What a horrendous creature! Is everybody all right?" And he
Yes.
looks at the group.
And if there's no initiative, suddenly there comes a superhero.
Oh, bless him! He didn't even get a chance.
Oh no!
Oh well, no. Actually, no. Thinking of it, the rest of us, don't actually know that there is a person in the room.
There is
so
still
if you
also
still want
person
to
in
do
the
some
room.
superheroing, you could do that.
It's like getting a cat out of treats, getting a person out of a shelf.
So
Also, do we see that there's a person in that room, or
Do you step
Do
into
we
the
have-
room? It's technically difficult terrain, but I think you can like dismiss that if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, no. Dr. Worm like dismisses these now very slimy roses.
Yep.
Kinda sad about that, but he knows they got to go.
Now, what I will say is that the kind of like liquid or whatever that came out of this thing is still on the ground. The slime that is covering the roses and such.
Oh, fun.
So do you want to walk on that?
I mean,
Yeah.
can we
Can I
get
try-
around it in any way? Is there any way for us to get around it?
I mean, feel free.
No, because it's partly in the doorway.
Yeah, no, fine. But
Do
do we have to roll anything?
Yeah, I just want you to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
I know
Anyone?
kind of right there?
Hmm?
Do the mouse already arrived there?
I'm so sorry. Nicho, you're kind of crumpling. Can you either
No,
mute the mic or please?
Sorry.
Yeah, one more time.
Does the mouse already arrived in the big slime room or something?
Yeah, they killed it before you could get there.
I'll arrive as fear no more. Chiipatsu is here, and everything is fine, and I like.
Well,
Oh,
Aw.
Very
Okay.
Fuegory got that natural one on the dexterity save. He's just lying on the floor.
I don't know if of the party is going to ask questions or something, but the less question, the better, right?
Yeah. What I'm gonna say with this with these is that Dr. Worm, you went to go in first, and what you learn very quickly is that this is slippery, and you basically do the classic like put your foot down onto the onto this area and just do whoop slip, perfect like Charlie Brown football slip backwards.
Yeah. Dr.
Fuegory,
Worm Dr. Worm quite literally pancakes like flat,
Oh my God.
flat onto the floor, just like a puddle.
Fuegory, what you end up doing, let me just double check this thing. I'm really good at games. Yeah, Fuegory, what you end up doing is, you see that, and you go, okay, well, what if I, like, tried to move a little, like, swifter, right? Like, a little bit, like, more momentum. You do that, you fall down, and you crash into Dr. Worm, and the two of you slide across the floor to the other side of this, like, puddle.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna have it catch on
Sitting there
fire
in a
because it
puddle
is
of ooze and
quote-unquote
worm.
grease, but yeah.
There is a
This one's
problem.
ooze.
Catching Fuegory causes fire damage, so
That's not my fault.
Oh, is Worm gonna have to take fire damage?
I guess that's not my fault. You rolled the natural one. No.
Oh, I take 4d fire damage. That's okay, I got loads of hit points.
Okay,
it's just like
Denzel.
Fuegory's just getting up and he's like, for the love of all dire chickens that are here, what is this? And he's actually angry. Then he tries to calm down because he's so deserving,
Oh.
and he just notices he burned his friend, and he's like, "Hello."
Oh,
And he's like, he's having a bad moment.
It's a
Oh,
little
bless
slippery in
him.
here. All right, Denzel, you go in. You have no problem with this floor. You saw what these two did. You're like amateurs.
Yep.
Yeah, and you basically kind of navigate. You know how to put pressure on your feet so that you don't slip and fall in this scenario. As you walk by them, like do you try to help them up, or are you just like, so what's going on in here?
He's going to offer a mage hand. And the way he does that, he just unscrews his right hand and it just floats.
Oh,
I like that.
Chiipatsu, do you want to go in there?
yes, of course.
Make
I
me
mean,
a make me a dexterity saving throw.
I did it already. The
Oh, you did?
16.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So sorry, I missed that. Yeah, you also go in, no problem.
Yeah, no problem doing showy jumps and seeing that people there is like in fire already. I already. Hey, yeah, you're right. But this is not like the nervous, squeaky voice of Nezuma. This is a more like serious
Yep.
tone. You can even swear that you style it.
Yep. And so from the top shelf where you have addressed this person and now everyone knows that they're there if they didn't know before, um, you see them just kind of like raise a hand in a thumbs up and just go, "Hey, thanks." Um,
Fuegory just
yeah.
also the hat just as Fuegory gets up, the hat is like
Oh my God, I forgot about the hat.
encouraging as always.
Oh my God, I
Fuegory is
forgot about the
having
hat.
none of this right now.
Hat. How could you, Mark?
The hat at this point says, "Hey, what voice did I give the hat? Hey, good job,
I
guys."
don't know.
It was like
Yeah,
that, so
that
it's
one.
kind of like a wisecracker. Hey, good job, guys. You killed that monster. Nice one.
Fuegory is having a bad moment, so he just takes the hat and puts it in his hammer space, so it just doesn't talk because he's not having a good day.
The hat
This is his
says,
only suit, and it's ruined.
the hat says, "Oh, okay, I get it. You know, it's important to take some time and some space for yourself."
I could repair your suit, but that's the way you're gonna act. I have a spell that could clean your suit.
It's called Clean Suit,
Yeah.
and it's level
know,
3.
No, the cantrip that starts with P that I can never pronounce.
Prestidigitation.
Clean
That's it.
Suit.
Yes, I refer to it.
Yeah, clean suit.
If you don't have a prestidigitation on your magic caster, you are seriously in trouble. You'll see that Denzel is cleaning up his suit, and he will be like, "Oh, thank you very much, sir." And um, you can see that his eyes are just they were kind of angry, but now they're just glowing that tad little more yellow that he's feeling a little better.
He's gonna give a nod and then turn to the person on the shelf.
Yeah, the person on the shelf has just kind of watched this happen. You know, they didn't really do anything like wild while you were doing it.
Yeah.
Um, they
person-
straight up didn't have a chance. They were last in the initiative order. I just kind of put them there because I didn't want to roll.
We will just walk up to them and ask, "Are you alright? Do you need any medical attention?"
I mean, I could use a hand getting off this shelf.
The
Yeah.
mage hand would have picked them up by their collar.
I don't know if they're that. I don't think they're that light. Mage hand can only do like what, 30 pounds?
Yeah, it's like 5 pounds.
10 pounds, I think it is. Okay, how heavy are they?
Person heavy.
The mage hand just sort of like gently tugs at the back of their like.
Since it looks like there will be no more combat, I just cast myself fly and help them get down.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sure. Thank you.
Dr. Worm is gonna like peel themselves off the floor and back into like their sort of like a normal, quote unquote normal shape, and is like, yes. Which one of the people that we are supposed to be rescuing are you?
My name's Fisher. I I was just doing some after hours work in the lab. And then these slimy things started coming in, and I didn't want any part of that, so I kind of climbed up on this shelf.
So you
They didn't seem to
any
notice
knowledge
me.
about what they are.
Not really. Although they kind of slurped up the broken glass really quick. Could use a couple of those. I think after this, I'm probably going to be the one who's stuck cleaning up the lab because I was down here when it happened.
When what happened?
When something downstairs exploded. I don't know. I figured it was like one of the experiments they were running or something.
You know anything like any other? I'm sorry. I'm just completely drop the kind of completely.
Do you know
drop the
anything?
voice.
Are you at all useful to us? No.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Don't worry. If you need someone to be mean, I can do it. I'm playing the bad guy.
you go ahead and ask the game questions because it's totally out of character.
He's just gonna walk and go. I don't suppose you would know where the others ran off to, do you?
Well, like I said, I was doing some work. I know I saw Professor Wall down here, pass by, said hello to me, on his way down. And I
Down
think
to
there was
what?
another, the sub basement. It was down there. I think where the I don't know what Professor Wall is doing down there, but it's pretty intense.
Well,
I hope
not
he's
anymore,
okay.
I think.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
When they finish, do you guys want to ask them anything else? Because when everybody's finished, Fuegory will escort that scientist up to the stairs and just tell them to go up because it's safe up there.
Yeah, that's probably
And
a
It
good
truly
idea.
is.
We want to at least rescue just one of them, like even if we don't do anything else.
Wait, we didn't rescue it all? Is there still someone to be rescued of the original people we should be supposed to look?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 3 people.
So we've got one of them.
You got 1.
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
I mean, it kind of is.
It's not the best in the
Statistically
world.
Speaking.
So,
I think
gentlemen, or onwards and downwards, Fuegory just asks and looks to where the next stairs are because they are kind of on the schedule.
Yep, at this point you
Even
kind
though
of
they did spend like 5 hours in that freaking ring room.
At this point you've kind of reached the bend in the hallway, and you can see the stairs down there, and there's another door on the way. It does say lounge, so if you're interested in that at all.
We're still going down, right?
Yes.
By the way,
Yeah.
Thank you for dealing with the crit.
I'm sorry, what?
He's saying thank you for dealing for whatever thing was inside the.
Oh, to you guys.
I reckon we should probably check out that that lounge area real quick, just so that like we don't just in case there's somebody in there. But no more floor shopping.
We'll just come up there and slightly open the door to see if he can spot anything dangerous before opening it or shutting it closed, depending on the situation.
Give me a perception check.
Just a moment, please. What's my
perception?
Well, Fuegory's opening the door.
Let's see what he sees.
No, never mind. You don't need guidance.
That's not too bad.
Oh, sorry. 16. Yeah. You don't see anything super dangerous in this room at the moment.
All right, so he will have one of his hands like out of the glove, so he can be just ready to attack, but he will open the door and just examine real quick if there is anything or anyone.
Yeah, with that perception check,
and the rest, of
that's
course, can follow.
pretty good. In this room, there's a table. It's almost like a standard kind of break room or like a teacher's lounge scenario. You know, there's a box of cooling over in the corner. And on there's a counter and there's a table and a few soft chairs as well. On the counter you can see knocked over but not not broken. There are some potions of healing over there,
Ooh, very nice.
and
There's a
What are-
scattered along on the table are just kind of various items. They're like sorry, there's like notes, like paper, and then like quills and such. I suppose I'm going with quills for this world.
Then we'll just look
It's
through the
academia. They're
book.
using quills.
Could somebody with possibly a slightly better perception than Dr. Worm maybe have a look at the like the papers and stuff?
not me. I don't have.
Because
Okay,
I don't think I have.
If
any
anything,
kind
I
of,
would call that investigation.
Oh, investigation. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have 0.
Investigation is not
Sure.
1d20 plus 4 plus 1d4.
I roll as word just to see if this does anything. Huh.
All right, are we all rolling to look at notes?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, Dr. Worm doesn't see anything.
Dr. Worm eats one of the notes.
Dr. Worm got a 2. Oh, and that was the most important one. Dr. Worm, no, that would be if you had a 1.
No, we can't finish the quest.
Reading the papers and asking others to turn the pages because he can't really
Oh.
find those because it's paper.
Oh. And so, essentially, the gist of these notes, just from what you can gather, is that a lot of it is plans for the exposition that's going on upstairs. There's a map of the like cold storage area directing people like where to get things. Essentially, so there's one area like right toward the back that has something. There's a couple that like it's a little bit of a maze in there, it looks like, and so having a map like that is pretty handy.
Cool. Can we take it with us? Let's take it
Then
with
we'll
us.
ask Denzel or someone to take them up because he can't take it, but it is useful, so we'll just ask that someone carries it.
Denzel will just pick it up and put it
Cool.
in his book.
Great.
Very nice. We want to take the healing potions as well.
You might like to.
What?
Okay.
You already took the papers off the table, right?
Yeah, we looked at the papers. That's basically what you get with the rolls that you have done. There's not like any like master plans or like schemes or anything crazy like in that realm.
No. Is it? I mean, like you said that there were like directions to places. It's more like a map than anything else.
Yeah.
Does it have? I'm guessing that with our roles, we can't really tell like what they're leading to. Like you said, there was like cold storage and stuff. There's no like beware giant blob monster written on it or anything.
Hopefully.
No,
Something
but there
like that?
would be general labels saying things like what is stored in those kind of general areas of the room. There's an area that is just like kind of thing like, oh, there's electrical equipment over here, or like like long-term storage is another area. One of them is just like medical specimens kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
there's
want
one
to
of
go see
those.
that one.
There's one that's like, I almost want to call it like miscellaneous chemicals of various sorts.
Here is where we keep all the things that explode.
Yeah, there's one that says all the things that explode on it, right next to various chemicals of sorts. There's one that just says Rube Goldberg machine.
That it says what?
A Rube Goldberg machine is, those really complex ones where it's like you start a marble at the top, and then like it hits something, and that reacts to something else, and then
Ah!
Chain reaction.
so on and so forth. Chain reaction, yeah.
What happened if we trigger it?
I don't know. You're not in the room yet. You're just seeing it on a map of a room. So I guess you're gonna have to see that when you get in there. It's downstairs. It's in the kind of like cold storage area, cold storage.
Awesome.
Fuegory would just exit the room because he is feeling that time is slowly going past him and he cannot stay there anymore. So he's like, "Come on, gentlemen."
Okay.
And he
Yeah.
will just-
Dr. Worm is.
Time to lose.
Okay, I did want to
Doc-
ask you guys kind of at this point if you guys are feeling all right, if you want to keep going, if we want to take a short, like a 15-minute break, or if we want to try and finish this like tomorrow or something.
Whichever we decide, I'd like a quick break at
Yep.
least.
Yeah.
Just to stretch and everything.
Maybe let's have a break.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So right now it's 3:24. So how about we just say my 3:24, so 3:45. That's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So at the 45 mark.
We've been going for 3 hours.
Okay, do you want to
Yeah,
stop?
do
Do you want to take a break? Do we want to like finish this another time?
Is it okay if we do like the sub basement and the boss like this time next week? If that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I was
it's,
asking.
For me, it's coming up. It's getting fairly late, and I need
Yeah.
to make dinner for myself and
Yes,
for
yes,
Kai.
yes, yes.
So
Absolutely, yeah.
I didn't
wanna,
want to
you know,
point anything out.
I don't want to like run
If
anyone
we,
ragged or
if we
anything.
go for any longer, I want to be seeing the sun.
yeah,
Well-
yeah. So okay. So Nicho needs to go to sleep. I need to make dinner. And this is a good place. This is a good place to stop.
Yeah,
anyway.
this was kind of, I kind of
The
put this in
reason-
here as like a place to
The
stop.
reason I didn't say anything was because I felt guilty that we started half an hour later.
It wasn't, I mean, that one wasn't just you, but
I kind of used it that my players show like 2 hours later of the hour we set it, so it's okay.
yeah, we're okay.
So
Yeah, let's take a break here. Let's stop here. And then
okay.
we'll get this either next week or just we'll plan it in the future. I might have a thing on next
They
week,
just
but I'm not
cover
sure.
the maps and prepare the plan.
Let me just
Mhm.
check, because I think I have something this time tomorrow. Wait, let me just check.
When do
I
you
don't
want
think
to
we're
continue
available
this?
to do it tomorrow.
We can arrange when we're gonna meet off mic. I think.
Yeah, I
For
still
the
have the
moment, I think it's most important that Nicho gets some sleep and the rest
Yeah.
of us can. And I need to go make dinner and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, go do that.
Thank you
I'm gonna
so
stop.
much for this game, though, Mark. It was
Oh, you're welcome.
extremely a good time, and I'm really
I
looking
hope
forward
so.
to the next session.
It's the first time I'm doing this even remotely, so I'm gonna
No,
stop the
it's really
recording
good.
here. Thanks. I'm gonna stop the recording here. So